Hello my friends! For those few of you that do not already know me, I am Sudoku Warrior, and this is Simple Souls, a walkthrough, playthrough, instructional video where we make Dark Souls simple. In the previous episode, we killed Seath the Scaleless, the undead dragon, and inherited a lot of his souls. You'll need to save about 20,000 of them to purchase the Crest of Artorias from the merchant underneath Undead Parish, Andre, who was the first one to start upgrading our sword. Immediately after purchasing that crest, you will head down into this room with the Titanite Demon that before we just ran past. Fighting this guy is not that difficult now that we have upgraded gear. It's very simple to run up to the center of his chest, block his first two swings, and then attack when he's done swinging. You can try rolling around behind him to either side like that, but I've found the simplest way by far is just wait till he does the first two swings, and since you're right up against his chest, the last one will go straight over your head. Yet another example of just smart playing and how it can save you a lot of pain and trouble in Dark Souls. He does, just like the rest of his kind, drop a Demon Titanite piece, which, if you're watching this walkthrough, just kind of looking at it, not necessarily as part of the full guide, but just as a way to get through the areas, if you're using a boss soul weapon, it is used to upgrade those. So, head on through familiar territory to Darkroot Garden. You will one-shot everything in here on your way to the next bonfire, so it's... as long as you don't get your head munched on by standing directly in front of those trees, you will be fine. Don't forget that there is one up ahead that is buried in the ground that you can hit with your R1 attack off of your claymore, or your right bumper attack, depending on what system you play on. So yeah, just finish those guys off. At this point in the game, since we've already done Blighttown, there really isn't a use for collecting their moss clumps unless you like spending time standing in front of Kingseeker Frampt feeding him items. Anyways, if you haven't already rolled through that wall like that, there may be an invisible wall right there that conceals this bonfire. It's very useful. So earlier, we bought that 20,000 souls worth of stuff into one item. That was the Crest of Artorias, as you can see, and it opens Darkroot Garden, or Darkroot Forest, or whichever part this is. I don't remember the names. Anyways, in here there are a lot of NPCs. To aggro the first, simply run up to the first few trees and kind of go after him. As you can see here, he is very vulnerable to parrying if you do it properly. As one follow-up stab after a parry with this particular weapon will just decimate him. There's a mage up here who you can use the trees to your advantage. Since the trees' hitboxes are pretty big, and so are basically all of the projectiles in this game, anytime you even have really narrow obstacles, you can hide behind them to dodge fire and stuff. So if you run up here, you will aggro a thief. Actually, all of these NPCs in here look exactly like one of the starting classes, and if you're not careful, often you will aggro both the thief and the cleric. Well, both of them have no poise, so if you just continually spam your R1 move from your claymore, you'll have no problems whatsoever killing both of them. Up ahead, there's only one more NPC that you have to fight at the top of this hill, and he is the bandit. It's a little bit more devastating if you miss a parry against him than any of the other NPCs, but you can just kind of trash him around because, again, no poise, easy kill. If you would like to join the Covenant that those guys are all a part of, you can talk to that cat right there, but that's really a PvP thing and doesn't have much utility for this walkthrough, so I just kind of skip it. Also, you tend to get ganked a lot in that Covenant, because there aren't a whole lot of people that like the Forest Invaders. Anyways, you don't actually have to fight anything running through this next area. Just head off in a straight line towards that cliff off in the distance. If you hear things running behind you, don't worry. Most things will de-aggro. Nothing will actually chase you down here. Anyways, once you've reached the cliff, head to the left and down to the bridge. This is the entrance to Sif, the Great Grey Wolf's arena, who was Artorias' companion. I hesitate to say pet because he was so big. But anyways, This area, actually, you can also see in the Ulusile DLC, or Artorias of the Abyss DLC is what it's actually called, but the Land of Ulusile, you can walk along that bridge, and it kind of gives you a nice nostalgic for the future feeling, if that's how nostalgia works. Anyways, don't head immediately towards the gravestone in the center, because if you get too close to it from the front side, you will start the boss fight. Instead, grab the loot from in the back. That ring is very, very useful if you're just looking for an extra ring slot and you want to do a lot of damage on backstabs and things. So anyways, you walk up to this giant sword next to a gravestone. Well, the boss uses that giant sword, and he's a wolf. You'll see how in a second. Sif was meant to be an alternate boss that you can sort of fight at the beginning of the game, because, I mean, there's nothing really keeping you from going and fighting Sif as a level 1, other than, you know, skill and 20,000 souls to unlock all the doors. So fighting Sif, if you have a fairly upgraded shield, it's better to block than to roll. The goal in this fight is to get underneath Sif's chest, the center of Sif's chest. And so rolling around and dodging like I did at the beginning is not really that great of a strategy. As you can see, once you're under his chest, none of his moves actually have a hitbox that'll hit you. So when you're underneath him, use your R2 with the claymore to swing back and forth so you're guaranteed hits on his legs. And when you're not underneath him, don't run straight into his swings like that. He will give you lots of healing time the closer you are to him, because it takes his AI so long to move and target you again. Your Claymore's R1, if you don't want to get hit by that and you want to constantly keep your shield up and ready, you can use your Claymore's R1. It just doesn't kill him as quickly. Be careful to move away from any of the times when he goes back on his hind legs, because that's a really long-ranged forward strike. And there's a lot of times when you'll be thinking, oh yeah, I totally got this, I can heal up right now, and then suddenly he just pulls that out and knocks you into the ground. Most of his attacks, once you learn the timings of them, can actually be dodged fairly easily, but it's still just as easy and safe to block. And as you can see right there, even a lot of the time when you're directly under his face, his moves don't have a hitbox that'll hit you. Once you get him down to low health, he's a very easy kill. He starts limping and whimpering, and yeah, that's Sif. So this is the first third of our part, and in here we get the Covenant of Artorias, which we need for the next part of the game, which will be in 2 videos. So I will see you guys next time. Spend your souls how you please, preferably on Vitality. Peace.